Hi guys, and welcome to this trip report. So given the setback, I thought that I might mosey around the terminal, but this has made me more infuriated because obviously I'm standing on the mezzanine level, as you can see from this shot. And the mezzanine level, for those who all know, are where all the lounges are. So just constant reminders of what I wasn't getting for the $5,500 I paid. Regardless, Sydney Airport does offer a lot for its customers and people that use it, regardless of lounge access. And there's certainly amenities that I could use and kill time with, no doubt. And I thought I'll just take the time to give you what I call a bird's eye view of Sydney Airport. Now, another issue. This was a bit bizarre, standing here. I get we're priority, but somewhat takes away from the fact that you're being prioritised. Pardon the pun, and that sounds awful too. A little bit entitled. I apologise for that. Let's have a look at the seat in the cabin. There's no doubt that this is a very old aircraft. You felt that the minute you sat in the seat, but in terms of functionality, everything you sort of need in terms of the fundamentals for a business class traveller, you got. And there's no issues with that. The seat delivered under those circumstances. But let's have a look at some of the other details. Seat 1A is a novelty at best. But it's nice to be at the front, I suppose. Ticket off for an ab gig. There's a wider shot of the seat and the reverse herringbone configuration. There is a shot there from within the seat itself. It delivered in that regard. Again, I'll add, everything was there, the space, the comfort, no issues there. The seat was certainly worn, and there will be some replacements, hopefully, in the seating and better yet, an aircraft. But nevertheless, everything you needed, you were able to achieve with other ways. For example, you could just use a touch screen. That wasn't very responsive, but you could still use it.
This is an essay.
Let's have a look at some other features as the rain starts to tumble on this Wednesday night, leaving Sydney for Colombo, as the safety demonstration is played on the screen. Let's have a look at some of the spacing you will have. You'll see that bit of gating where my feet is, and that's the only difference on seat 1A. You can see I give myself verbal cues to say something when I'm going to do the voiceover. The point I'm making there with the overtly clear verbal cue is that on some configurations of the A330, that's actually storage, but not in this one. Let's have a look at the menu. You can pause it if you wish and have a look. Look, this is one of the positives, I think. I think certainly the food, the taste, the flavours, and what they delivered was better than my Singapore flight. There were your noise-cancelling headphones, and a snack was provided just after takeoff with a very good selection of spirits and liqueurs. Right, so continuing on, let's have a look at this controller. As you can see, it's not very responsive, and as the glare hits it, you can see how worn it is and probably needs a bit of a service. But given the country's financial issues, service to the controllers on their business class flights are probably not the most important thing given the difficulties for the population at the moment. It will sound rather entitled of me to request that. So let's continue. There was a more than competent movie selection for those that could not speak Sinhalese, Tamil, or Hindi for that regard. But it offered well over 150 English films of fair note. Not the latest, but certainly a good selection of new movies, and not black and white greats, but Top Gun, for example, greats. So continuing on, let's have a look at the takeoff. I don't stick my camera right on the screen, I like the POV of the window on the side there. I know it's shaky, but I'm not trying to be a famous director or, too arty there to talk about the POV of the camera, the POV of the window, which gives you that sort of, feeling you're in the aircraft rather than doing the professional aviator job of just sticking it on the screen. But I do like the shot, so I have to be honest. I decided to start with a cup of tea. Dinner will come shortly, and a short eat as well, a little snack. Right, let's have a look at dinner. I thought this was the highlight for the flight. Whilst it's one big serving and business class should be served in sections as, entree and main dessert, this was more like in the economy fashion. The quality and the taste was, here we go, look, I'm testing the panna cotta. Panna cotta is a gelatin cream milk based dish. It was done properly. The seafood salad, a bit of an nouvelle cuisine example there, of the 80s, that style of cooking, but the quality was right, the taste was good. It's just, that type of salad is not served in restaurants anymore, but the correctness, the skill was there. It was good, tasty. The beef was cooked well. My steak, this was a nice little meal, with plenty of flavour and delivered. So well done, Sri Lankan Airlines on that. Let's have a look at the bed. Now, I just jumped onto this empty seat in the middle of the aisle and I made my bed there. So when I got up, I could just jump back to my 1A seat and continue my upright seating experience, if I could use that phrase. It wouldn't put the cabin crew under too much stress for me going and making a bed next door to my seat, but it just made more sense that way. As you can see, it lies nice and flat. You can just see how worn this particular product is from Sri Lankan Airlines, but it made a nice flat bed and I was able to go to sleep. Actually got good sleep that night, so very happy with that. Right, upon waking up, there was this interesting supper, if you call that, because the time would be maybe 1 a.m. Sydney time, and Sri Lankan time it was like maybe 10 at night. I don't know, but I suppose it is a supper, but it looks like another meal. But I wasn't complaining. I got the seafood pasta. It was again cooked very well. Everything tasted as it should. Yes, the style of Western cuisine was dated, but the food was good. Right, so in terms of the thumbnail you saw, let's have a look at what happened. Well, yeah, attempted humour there, but essentially I wasn't given an email about this sudden late change. I understand the massive crisis the country's in, but to think that the national carrier has no fuel, it got that bad. You know why people are protesting. This is why. If the national carrier has no fuel, what's going to happen to the rest of the country? Regardless, it was still considered a Colombo Sydney flight because we didn't get off the plane, but we sat there for at least 2 hours. It would be very difficult in economy because what was a 10.5, 11-hour flight suddenly became a 13-hour flight. That's like flying Sydney to LA. That's awful. It's not a nice sort of stretch, especially in economy. So my feelings for people were cramped there. Nevertheless, again, sound quite entitled because the difficulties, here I am in business complaining about it and the people are struggling in the country, and that's not a nice thing to do. So they actually changed crew for the 1 hour 20 minutes the flight lasted, but nevertheless, Trivandrum, interesting there, look at that's the flight that left just 10 minutes after us. There's the Melbourne flight right there. They leave pretty much together, but as you can see, there's no fuel in the country, so every aircraft that is leaving Colombo at some level, needs to find fuel to get to his destination, which is quite, bizarre to think about it. But there we were, sitting there with no fuel. But given how the strategy in regards to the war is going on, Russian fuel is cheap and Sri Lanka has no money, so it became a fait accompli, which means the obvious choice. Nevertheless, if it wasn't for the Russian fuel, I wouldn't be sitting at home. So, I'd have to be appreciative of that at the very least. And thank you to India for organising it. Cheers, have a good day.